So I just wanted to come back and try to make a new video. So I'm going to answer the questions that, with my own. I'm going to just talk about something that I think is crucial to understanding why men go towards alternatives. Pay for. I'm going to call this video "Why Some Men Would Rather Pay for an Actress," and what or actress situations, and why is that? Well, I'm gonna tell you. Now, to start off, to illustrate my point, I'm going to use a picture of Chizuru from an anime called Rent a Girlfriend. It's an anime where a guy does what? Well, he rents a girl. He rents a girlfriend essentially, and her name is Chizuru. Okay, she's an actress. She acts. Okay, and why did I pick this picture? Why did I pick this character? Well, because she acts. And what do women do a lot of in corn, in uh, in stripper situations where they're maybe getting paid to be a stripper? What do? Well, they act, of course. They act interested. They get paid to act essentially, right? Not that much different from a rent a girlfriend from Japan, or in Japan rather. That's actually a thing you can get. You can actually rent a girl in Japan, and just have her be your girlfriend for the day. And it's not. I don't think, guys, from what I understand, it's not anything nefarious. It's just taking her out on a date, paying her for the time, and just having her, act for you and act like your gal. Act like your girlfriend. And it's just her playing a role, right? It's not anything. I don't think it's really that nefarious. I really don't. It's not. It can't be any worse than being a stripper or being on OnlyFans. So let's just pack that away, okay? It's better in my opinion because at least the guy's getting some. He's getting some free time. He's getting some time with a gal who's at least pretending to be nice, and that's gonna be the crux of my argument. Um, okay, men know that in a lot of these situations, that these situations are not real. Okay, they know it's all an act. Okay, and that's the crucial part of my conversation here, because if a man gets an AI, for example, deep down he knows it's fake. If he buys corn, again he knows the pictures in there are of actresses and actors doing stuff. All right, it's all an act anyway. He's paying for an act in all those situations. He's paying for a program to act. If he's paying for it to be programmed into it, that it acts as if it cares. So why do men opt in for this, but opt out of, marriage? Because, guys, I'm going to tell you right now, there are a lot of women who just act again in a situation where she's not supposed to be acting. This is not supposed to not be real, right? So that's kind of the way. That's the kind of way I want to put it, right? Like, I don't think wives should ever um, uh, lie to their husbands about how they really like them and how they don't hold them in high esteem. If that's not the case, you should not be married to that guy. You should not be telling him lies. You should not be telling him falsities, right, that aren't true, and making him believe that you really do. That's a lie essentially. All right, and you shouldn't be doing that, honestly, because you're hurting him. And in the end, when he does find out that you don't really feel that way, when he does inevitably find that out, do you even care what you just did? I'm not saying all you would, right? I know not all women would do something like this, but a lot of women can, and the systems allow women to lie to their husbands without any real consequence. The only thing that I think stops a woman from lying to her man is, well, herself. If she chooses to be a genuine wife and not be a fraud, not be an actress in her own marriage, that's on her. Like, she chooses to be a real ride or die wife. And really, guys, that's the true essence of a real marriage anyway, even without the government. Remember when I said I don't like the government? Yeah, did I mention that I don't like the government's like involvement with marriage and such? I believe I did. And it's because, well, it takes away from the genuineness of what it's supposed to really be, which is you're supposed to really have high esteem for this guy. You're supposed to really like him. If you don't, then why are you doing it? Could it be you're doing it again for this? The same way Chizuru, perhaps, the same reason she does her job. It's just a job to you. Thing is, if it's just a job and I'm paying you to play a role, how is it any different than this? Heck, how is it any different than being a stripper? I mean, yeah, they're obviously different situations, but you're still being an actress. Okay? And there are women out there whom are still acting and not being for their husbands. Be a real wife. Care about your man. Hold him in high esteem. Respect what he does do for you. Love him. Care about him. And choose to. I'm not telling you what you should do. Choose to either tell him the truth and what's really going on. And that brings me to my next point. This is why I respect Chizuru as a character. Okay, and even if he was to be real, let's just say she was. Okay, like a real rental girlfriend. Like they do actually have these in Japan, guys. At least they're not lying to their customers about what the situation is going to be. Wives can and have done so to men in the past, especially in the US. And there's nothing stopping them from doing so. And honestly, guys, that's why men go towards these other alternatives. And I want to drive home the real reason why they go towards these things, all these things, encompassing it all. Horned AI doesn't matter. They know it's fake. They're not being lied to. And these women are ironically being more honest. These rental girlfriends, these actresses in the porn industry aren't lying to their customers. It's all fake, and they know it. They're aware of it, and they're not. It's not being hidden from them. They're not like selling. It wouldn't be like them selling them fake wives and being like, "Hee hee hee, we got their money now." You see what I'm saying? Do you see a parallel here? Do you get my point? There are women out there who will just bury men for their money and nothing more, and not even, not even lose a lick of sleep over it. It's nuts, really, how that can't, how that can happen, right? Like I'm still shocked at Amber Turd for treating Johnny Depp the way she did, and you know, it's it's like how the hell do you sleep at night, lady? How the hell do you actually sleep at night knowing that you blatantly lied to this guy? You treated him like crap in the fucking courtroom, and we're essentially doing this. I guess some habits die hard because I believe she was an actress too, if I'm not mistaken. Um, you know, but she just got there because Johnny Depp, in his connections. But in any case, I rest my case. I just think that there are a lot of women out there who would, who I know there are a lot of women who say they wouldn't, but I know there's also a lot of women who would, and I know there's a lot of women who wouldn't. I know that there's good women out there, but that doesn't negate the fact that you still could, with every fiber of your being, have the ability to lie and deceive. And the law and the systems at play would help women just do that. And another thing I don't like about the system is the system would just let it go through. Nope, she didn't do anything wrong. And even if she flattened your tires, she didn't do anything wrong. And even if you have some damaged property, again, you're not going to win this case. Those kinds of situations really, really peeve me off. They really do, because men are human beings and they deserve to be recognized as such, not just utilities to be used. And I think that at the core of that, therein lies the issue. At least in these situations where they do pay for something fake, whether it be AI, whether it be corn, or whether it be a program that they just have or a fake character. It doesn't matter because at least they know it's fake and at least they're being shown at every possible turn that indeed, yes, this is a fake situation. I know I'm paying for a fake situation. My money's going towards a fake situation, and yet I'm paying for it because at least she's being more honest with me than possibly my wife could ever hope to be. And I think that's the mindset that a lot of guys, going into these things, might think, or they might just want a good time, or they might just want to get the rocks off, and that is part of it. But I urge you to go down in the description and check out a video from Far From Eden and get more insight on how men view sex, because it's not just about the busting of the nut. That's part of it, the need to bust a nut. That's part of the equation, but that's not the full story. Women only have half the story about men, and they just think they're always right. At least the ones who think they're always right, And I think they need to know a little bit more before they can, you know, judge the way they do. I think they need to understand a little bit more, be a little bit more understanding, and maybe even a little bit more caring, and maybe even a little bit more holding your man in high esteem, your boyfriend or your husband, doesn't matter to me. It would show me that you at least respect men to a level that is, you see them as human beings and not just utilities to be used. You know? I know that not all women think of it like that either. I get that. But it doesn't negate the fact that I do know that the system allows women the ability to hurt men, even with the tools that they have at their disposal. Doesn't negate the fact that they still have those tools available, and there's a lot of women who do choose to use them the way they do. Can you blame men for not wanting to join in relationships or marriages when that's the case? And not even just that, but women can accuse men of shit that didn't even happen. So imagine if we had something similar to a rent-a-girlfriend service in America. Let's just humor me for a second, guys. Just humor me for a second. Imagine if we had something like that in America. There would be so many false allegations. It's not even funny because our culture, our American culture, has bred women who just hate men. They have taught them to hate men. They have brainwashed them to hate men. They have, and women have chosen what they want to be. Those particular women who would do something that nefarious have chosen who they want to be. And could you blame men for not wanting to participate in any of this, knowing that those women are very plentiful in the current crop of women? Can you really blame them? Can you? Can you blame them for wanting to go towards this when it seems a little bit more honest than what they could get in a marriage if they do end up with the wrong person? Can you really blame them? Because it is more honest in a way. Like I say, I'm going to repeat it one more time, just to end the video. A stripper is not lying to a man. A rent-a-girlfriend is not lying to a man. Corn isn't lying to him. And an AI can't lie to him either. The only person in that situation, at least in the AI one and all these others, would be himself after seeing all the evidence that it's not that way, and after being shown blatantly that, look, this is not what that is. This is a rent-a-girlfriend service, and this is what you're paying for. You know what I mean? Like, once you know that, and once you know that as a guy, and you've been shown all the evidence, and you've been shown all the stuff that's how it is, at least you know what the situation is going in. But with a marriage, I mean, you might think you have a good idea of her, but I'd take a rain check on that one because you could always pick wrong. That is partially your fault, but I would argue that it's the woman's fault for even being the way that she is in the first place. The same way that society tries to blame men for being the way that they are sometimes, because there are men who are jerks, there are men who are assholes. But if we're going to have that conversation, let's have it on both sides. And let's realize that these situations, these alternatives, ironically have some more honesty than even some marriages might for men. it's a funny way to think about it, I know, but it's understandable, right? You got my message. So I'll leave you with that. Thank you for listening to me, and I hope I've made my case uh, good and well, at least. Well thought out, at least. You know. Anyway, that's all I have to say. Thank you for listening to me, and goodbye.